Welcome back, Hammers. If you love West Ham news and updates, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments what you think. Let's get started. We are in another day of preparation, and after the last match, a lot has started to be discussed inside and outside the club. Yesterday, we already talked about Nuno's press conference after the game, his first interview as the team's manager. Later this week, we will also have his first pre-match press conference before Saturday's clash against Arsenal, the last fixture before the international break. But today's focus is different. Who will be part of the new coaching staff being formed by Nuno? This is an important topic because, as we know, when Graham Potter left the club, he took his entire backroom staff with him. We were left without goalkeeping coaches, without assistants, without that essential support team for any manager. For the most recent match, it was necessary to rely on academy coaches, which in my view was a very sensible decision. Now, the names expected to make up the new staff are starting to emerge, and there are even some surprises on the horizon. Many of these professionals are still under contract with Nottingham Forest, but the expectation is that they will join West Ham soon. Among them is Rui Pedro Silva, who has already worked as an assistant at various clubs such as Porto Malaga and Panathinaikos. He has worked with Nuno at different stages of his career and has become a trusted figure. In fact, after an experience as head coach, he returned to being Nuno's assistant at Forest. Therefore, everything indicates that he will be confirmed as the new right-hand man here at West Ham. Another name is Julio Figueiredo, known for his distinctive style, always remembered for his trademark glasses. He also worked as an assistant at Valencia and Wolverhampton, always alongside Nuno. His contract with Forest ends in the summer, so it remains to be seen whether he will arrive immediately or whether the transition will only take place later. The goalkeeping coach Barbosa is also expected, having already been with Nuno at clubs such as Rio Ave Wolverhampton and even Tottenham. He is someone with plenty of experience and has lived through curious moments, such as when he ended up needing stitches on his head after celebrating a goal too wildly on the Forest bench. On the physical side, there is the possibility of Antonio Diaz rejoining Nuno. He worked as a fitness coach at practically every club where Nuno passed through, but he is currently at Benfica after following Jose Mourinho to Fenerbahce. Because of this recent move, it is uncertain whether he will be available now, as the compensation to release him would be high. Even so, his name appears as an option to reinforce the physical preparation. The most interesting thing is that Nuno does not intend to bring in only people from outside. He also wants to include professionals who are already inside West Ham, creating a balanced mix between trust and the club's identity. One example is Mark Robson, who has already played an important role as an assistant in the past and knows the academy and the first team deeply. It would not be surprising to see him take on a prominent role again, serving as a bridge between the first team and the academy. This idea is very clever. After all, a manager needs his trusted staff, but he must also value those who already know the reality of the club. Respecting what has been built before and making use of people with internal experience is an effective way to win the fans' trust and strengthen ties with the academy. Before we move on, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support keeps the Claret and Blue family united and helps make West Ham stronger every single day. When we think about what Nuno is building, it is not just a matter of bringing in assistants for the sake of it. He is putting together a core of people who have already proven trust, loyalty, and above all, the capacity to work in different contexts. That is the big difference. Every coach has their philosophy. Some arrive imposing their entire group, completely replacing the structure that existed. Others try to make the most of what they find at the club. Nuno seems to be seeking the balance between the two. He will have his team, of course, but he will also keep important West Ham figures who can act as a bridge to maintain the team's identity. The example of Mark Robson is fundamental to understanding this move. He has already shown in previous stints that he is capable of taking on responsibilities helped during Moyes' time and always maintained a strong connection with the academy. This connection is something Nuno seems to value highly. Having someone who deeply knows the youth setup means keeping alive the link with young talents and ensuring that the club's philosophy is not lost. Another point that drew attention was the possibility of including names who know West Ham but who have been in the first team in the past and now work more closely with the academy. This reinforces the idea that there will be continuity rather than a complete break. In football, continuity is essential, especially when it comes to giving young players minutes and using secondary competitions as development spaces. Speaking of youngsters, it is worth remembering how this philosophy was recently reflected in the use of alternative tournaments. West Ham faced Reading, and in that match we saw Thomas Soucek gain match rhythm, despite being suspended in the Premier League. This is a very smart move using parallel competitions as an opportunity to keep players active, give minutes to those who need rhythm, and at the same time strengthen the integration between experienced players and academy youngsters. In that game, we also had Callum Marshall shining once again, scoring a goal and showing why he is regarded as one of the great prospects. The team ended up losing 3-1 after questionable refereeing decisions and a penalty that led to a red card. But the main point here is not the result. The highlight is the model, the strategy of giving playing time to those who are suspended or returning from injury. This shows modern management, one that thinks long-term. That same mentality of valuing the collective and planning every detail is what we see Nuno applying in the formation of his staff. He knows he needs trust and experience, but he also knows that the fans value those who have history at the club. By uniting these two worlds, he is creating not just a coaching staff, but a bridge between tradition and innovation. This is exactly what differentiates an ordinary coach from a strategist. It is not just about picking the team and choosing a tactical setup. It is about structuring the environment off the pitch so that things flow naturally on the pitch. The supporters may not notice it immediately, but these backstage choices are decisive for the performance we will see on the field. Moreover, it is interesting to note how each member of the support team has a specific history with Nuno. Rui Pedro Silva, Julio Figueiro Barbosa. All of them have past experiences that cross paths with the manager at different clubs. This creates mutual trust, a chemistry that facilitates daily work. When a coach gives an instruction, he needs assistants who understand exactly what he wants without noise. And that is only possible when there is a long history of working together. On the other hand, the move to keep West Ham names brings something that these external assistants do not possess: the intimate knowledge of the academy, of the club's culture, and of the particularities that only those who have lived behind the scenes understand. This mix is what could make it work. It is as if Nuno were assembling a mosaic where each piece has its function. The supporter may wonder, will this work? Well, looking at Nuno's recent past, we see that he greatly values this combination of trust and identity. And now, with the responsibility of leading West Ham, he seems more determined than ever to apply this model. Before we carry on, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. This is really important because it strengthens the Claret and Blue family, making our West Ham bigger and stronger every day. What we see today is the beginning of a new phase for West Ham. After a period of instability, Nuno arrives with clear ideas about how he wants to structure not only the team on the pitch, but also everything that happens off it. And it is important to understand what happens off the pitch behind the scenes is what sustains performance on the field. Bringing trusted professionals such as Rui Pedro Silva, Julio Figueiro, and Barbosa ensures there is a solid foundation composed of people who already deeply understand Nuno's way of working. These are names that do not need time to grasp his methodology because they have already walked together on other journeys. This speeds up the adaptation process and strengthens the working environment. But what really stands out is the decision to balance this with names from within West Ham itself. By considering someone like Mark Robson, Nuno shows intelligence and respect for the club's history. This kind of move is usually well received by the supporters because it conveys the idea of continuity, of valuing what already exists and not just imposing something new. This stance can also create a powerful link between the first team and the academy. And we all know how vital that connection is for the future. West Ham has a tradition of developing talents and must keep that pathway open. If the academy feels there is a route to the first team, the club can only benefit. The example of using suspended players or those in recovery in alternative tournaments is practical proof of this. Thomas Soucek, Callum Marshall, and other names received minutes on the pitch, showed their ability and maintained rhythm. Even though the result against Reading was not favorable, the strategy itself was very positive. This shows long-term vision and attention to every detail. And it is precisely this vision that can transform West Ham. It is not just about who will be in the starting 11 or which system will be used against Arsenal. It is about preparing the ground so the club has consistency, so young players can make the transition naturally, and so experienced players maintain rhythm even during suspension or injury. The supporters can therefore expect a period of significant change, but also of balance. It will not be a complete break with what has been done. On the contrary, Nuno seems willing to value what already exists and add his own identity to it. This combination may be the key for the team, not only to survive another season, but to grow in a structured way. Of course, there will always be questions. Who else might be included in the staff? Will we see any former players with history at the club becoming involved in the daily work? The truth is that this possibility exists. And it would be an even greater success because names familiar to the supporters help create immediate identification. Meanwhile, the work goes on. The next challenge is against Arsenal, and although it is just another fixture on the calendar, it will also serve as a practical test for this new phase. It will be the chance to see how this blend of long-standing trust and West Ham identity begins to reflect on the pitch. The future is still being written, but one thing is clear. Nuno shows that he knows exactly what he is doing. He does not act only as a coach, but as someone who sees the club as a whole, and that in modern football makes all the difference. So supporter, the question is, who would you like to see alongside Nuno on this new journey? Will Mark Robson have that space? Will we see the academy increasingly integrated into the first team? And to what extent can this mixture of past and future change West Ham's destiny? One thing is certain, this is only the beginning of a journey that promises to be very interesting. And it is up to all of us to follow, closely analyze every decision, and of course hope that the results on the pitch confirm the good ideas already emerging off it.